scrambles to the left side, keeps the play alive. Now throws it across his body.
Kansas City has won their first Super Bowl in 50 years. Oh, home, Derek Thomas whacking the quarterback. He's running to the near side, cocks his arm, throws a pass on the fly in the end zone. Touchdown!
Intercepted Mike McMillan. 10, 5, touchdown, Mighty Mouse. Left side has a hold. Angles left, 10, 5, touchdown, Kansas City.
Welcome to week 2 of the 65 Toss Power Talk Show. I am Shaggyshane with Lance Twidwell of The Spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs freaks worldwide of all ages, our guest is none other than the up-and-coming superstar on YouTube, the man that went toe-to-toe with Skip Bayless in April. He knows his football, he knows his Chiefs, he knows his stats, and today is his 30th birthday. He joined us on his 30th birthday. Give Matt a happy birthday and welcome him to the 65 Toss Power Talk Show.
I appreciate it. Jason Kelce better look out because that was a heck of an intro. Thank you, sir.
People may say, hey, Shaggy, what do you mean? What was Matt Pratt doing? I'll tell you what, last April, I was scrolling through Twitter, and this is what I found. Matt Pratt, and we're just going to give you a little snippet here of Matt Pratt and Skip Bayless going at it.
How can you bomb a wild card game at home in Gillette and then say, oh, you made the most important game of the year and didn't play your best? This is bizarre to me. It will never make sense. No, real fast. Let me make this real fast. Greatest stadium in the world, 142.2 decibels, baby.
You remember the 2018 AFC Championship game
where Patrick never touched the ball and the Chiefs wanted the rules changed. They didn't do it, but they did it for the Buffalo Bills.
Do you remember what Tom Brady did in your house? Did 3 times in a row. He faced third and 10. 3 3rd and 10s in a row.
You're right.
He goes Edelman, Gronk, ball game.
The same way Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl 58, down 3 points in overtime, 2 fourth downs, a 2nd and 14, because Marquez Valdez-Scantling forgot which way the end zone was and ran backwards, and he converted, and he hit who in the end zone? McCole Hardman for a touchdown back-to-back. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
That was his one and only great Super Bowl.
It was unbelievable. All-time clutch. Also about this, since 2001, there has been 125 NFL playoff drives where the score was 7 points or less in the fourth quarter or in overtime. The rate of success of that is 40%.
Okay.
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., as you like to put it, went 5 for 11 in that situation, which is 46%. That's pretty dang good. That's not bad. Okay. Patrick Mahomes went 7 for 7. What do you think of that one, Skip? Tell me. Come on, buddy.
Okay,
shout out Shannon Sharp.
Let's get to the facts here.
Way to go.
I gotta ask real quick.
Go ahead, Lance.
What was it like talking to a wrinkled wall? You were just
I'll give
facts and just
Sure. So first, I want to give a shout out to Jubilee. They're the ones who had us on for that. They're an awesome platform where they're usually doing political stuff. I don't know if anyone wants to touch that. I'm going to stay 1,000 feet away from that. However, so they brought us in. I'll just tell you the truth about it. He was off the camera. He was a cool dude. I mean, he dabbed us all up. He thanked us all for being there. I got to call balls and strikes, man. And he was cool. I clearly, one thing I'll say, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but I will say this. Why not? At the end of that, I asked him, because he's got those Tim Tebow takes. I said, is Patrick Mahomes better than Tim Tebow? And he did not like that. So take that for what it's worth. But no, I mean, here's the thing with Skip, and this is the truth. I'm not trying to be mean, not trying to be unfair. I'm just calling it the way I see it. There's no way he believes everything that he's saying. There's just no way. Like there's just no way. There's some takes where I'm like, dude, you can't possibly.
And this is why you're a better person than me. because I wouldn't be able to listen. I'm not kidding when I say this, and I'm not even saying that like, oh, I'm above it, but like, if I was invited to have a debate with Skip Bayless, I would decline it. Because of the fact that I know what I'm getting into. I know that no matter, because all you did in that whole clip, and obviously you were bringing the passion, the zeal, and all that stuff, you were stating nothing but irrefutable facts, and it did not matter to him, because all he cares about is listen to what I think and believe, even if I don't actually think and believe it for myself. I'm just saying something, and that's all that matters to him. He's not going to listen to you, because in his mind, he's worried about doing those little cute poses. I never lose in these shoes, and he doesn't care about anything else anybody says. So even though you could come out with the greatest opinion-based, fact-based diatribe, he's not going to listen to you, man. So that's why I would to me, it would be a non-starter, because all you're going to do is literally dismantle this man in front of all these people, and it will not matter to him, because he views himself as the one that knows more than you.
100%. I'd even touch this. Okay, this is all you got to know. Okay, he's paid, similar and like similar to Nick Wright, who I love dearly.
Absolutely.
But he's paid to say things he doesn't believe. So and once you get that, it's, remember, he sat across from a guy who tormented the Chiefs kingdom for years in Shannon Sharp and said, I know more football than you do. Come on now, bro. Chase is one of the greatest tight ends to play the game. So
right.
Well, Matt, I loved it because it caught my attention, and I think that you went toe-to-toe with them, stating stats and facts, and we need more of that, because on the national spectrum, all we know about is Skip Bayless as being a Chiefs hater and not really seeing the facts that you brought up. So I can't thank you enough for being on there. I first found out about Lance Twidwell of the Spoken 13 years ago when he wouldn't hold out, when he made a video about Scott Pioli needs to address the quarterback situation. It made some people uncomfortable, but it was something that needed to be said. And I thought, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. Fast forward to last April, Matt, you brought it, you brought facts, and you were passionate. That was the most important thing. And you didn't back down what you had to say. And on that stage, that speaks highly of you, because you came with your homework. You didn't have a cheat sheet there in front of you. You brought it. You knew what you know about the great Patrick Mahomes, and you brought it. And I can't thank you enough for doing that. More power to you. Did they pay? Where was it at? Did they pay for your flight to fly out there to be with them?
Great question. So it was in LA. They didn't pay for our flights, but they gave us a stipend, so yeah, called a wash. But it was in California, and it was, I've always just been a fan of their content, Jubilee's content. And I would never go on one of the political ones, just not my thing. But I 100% saw they had one where there was like NFL super fans and NBA super fans. And I was like, this one I'll fill out. And then I did the interview, and they said, and they sent me the prompts after I did the interview with them. And they did not tell us who it was, but I saw the prompts and I go, this is Skip Bayless. I was like, I read all four. I was like, that's exactly who I get to sit down with. So I did my homework, and I sat down, and I was like, what can I, I'm going to hit you with things you can't deny. That was kind of the plan. I do want to give Lance a pat on the back, and I'm not above admitting I was wrong. So I want to give Lance a pat on the back. A few months ago, over the offseason, Lance made an argument to trade McDuffie. And I thought, Lance, what are you on? And then I'm looking at this team, and I go, he's not crazy anymore. I'm sitting here going, if Folson's healthy and Watson's healthy, they're fine. They're not McDuffie, but they're fine. Okay, we're not, they're not elite, but they're fine. If you could get McDuffie and you could get a 1 and a 2 and turn that into a high-level target next 4 or 5 years. So Lance, I was wrong. That I don't hate that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I do appreciate it, but here's the thing, man. We discuss these things because we all want the same thing, correct? It's we want to see this team continue to win Super Bowls. So even if somebody listen, yes. On the Spoken every Saturday, I have someone bringing it up in the chat. Hey, Lance is crazy for doing that. And look, it was the same thing in 2023 when I was telling everybody the wide receiver room was ass. I was like, this is not a good wide receiver room. Patrick's going to struggle. And the last bit of Travis Kelce's prime is going to be used up this season because they're going to have to use him up. And that's exactly what happened. They still found a way to win the Super Bowl, but I was 100% on the money about that, and they fixed it. They started investing real assets into that wide receiver room. And I see the way that Brett Veach drafts that DB area, not even just corner, but safety as well. You see that the 8 of the 9 guys in that defensive back room right now are on their rookie deals still. The only one that isn't is Christian Fulton, who's not even gotten his real chance to show what he can do in this defense, which I believe he can do a lot. And Trent McDuffie being more of an interior corner. Those guys don't make the money. If you look at the 8 of the top 9 corners paid right now, they're all on the outside, and they all play for non-contenders. That is 0 for 2 for Trent McDuffie here in Kansas City. And that's all I keep trying to tell people. I just try to state the facts, because if we want this team to continue to contend for Super Bowls, they got to make the decisions that sometimes are just not sexy and sometimes will piss fans off. But in the grand scheme of things, these dudes understand how to build championship rosters because they've been doing it, and they got to continue to do it as long as they have Patrick Mahomes playing the way that he continues to play. As he's getting also closer in his 30s too, you got to make sure that you're securing that roster around him as well to keep him great as well.
And one thing I want to push here that you said, you didn't say give him away. It wasn't like we're getting a 3 and a day 3 pick in the pocket of bubble gum for it.
Exactly.
The compensation's got to be there. If somebody, we'll give you a 1. If you get the Tyreek trade from 4 years ago for Trent. Veach? He's on the plane. Veach is like he's on the plane. Okay, it's not like we're getting pickpocketed here. It's if the compensation's got to be there. We got to get the compensation we want. But it's the idea of we got to I explain this to people all the time. The NFL salary cap is no different than a middle class family budget. If you spend money here, you don't have money there, and that's how that works. If you're, people went after the Karlaftis extension. I thought we got him for a steal. Go look at his sack total. Go look at Myles Garrett's sack total. It's not that far, guys. And George has a case of being around the quarterback all the time. Love it. If McDuffie wants top corner money, I don't love it. I really don't. I don't, I especially knowing the compensation that we could get for corners, but I know we're getting off on a tangent here with McDuffie.
No, you're good. Dude. You're good.
It's important. I'm glad you brought that up, and we will break down the Chiefs and Eagles, and we will preview Chiefs and Giants. But it's an important topic because what are you going to get more of a draft in return for Trent McDuffie? Are you going to get more now, or are you going to get more next March? Would you entertain the thought of trading Trent McDuffie in the next couple weeks, or
Matt,
would you wait until March? Go ahead, Lance.
Matt, I'm gonna jump in real quick, and I'm gonna hand this to you, brother. But I've said all along that it needed to happen this offseason. But when the season starts, it's no longer a discussion, because right now, Trent McDuffie has to play his role for this team to win a Super Bowl. Like, he still has value to this current roster because this team doesn't currently have the pass rush to justify giving up a guy that good at cornerback. This team has to have Trent right now. But I said before the season, the reason I said before the season or after the season is because of the fact that you could have gotten yourself an opportunity to have something close to the 2022 draft, which ironically is the draft they got Trent McDuffie. And ironically, they got him because they had 12 picks to mess with, and they traded up to get their earliest pick in the Veach era at 21. Who got who? Trent McDuffie. So you have a cycle that you can continue to work with because, like I said, Brett Veach has done a master class at drafting defensive backs across the board from day 1 to day 3. We've seen it proven time and time again. But it's also proven time and time again that when he has these guys, he doesn't pay them. L'Jarius Sneed was the best corner on this team in 2023. He was the one that was locking down all the number 1 receivers. Correct me if I'm wrong, fellas.
Sneed Island.
He's the one that shut Tyreek Hill down in that playoff game. He's the one that made the play on Zay Flowers in the playoff game that saved a touchdown. He was that one. And yet, what happened? The Chiefs said, well, we appreciate you. You gave us 4 awesome years. Now we're trading you. It's business. And like Matt just alluded to, you have to be cheap somewhere if you want to continue to be a contender. Not every team has a Patrick Mahomes type of quarterback. So, of course, some of these other teams will pay cornerbacks because they need cornerbacks. This team doesn't need cornerbacks. They clearly showed you, because I don't think any of us believe that George Karlaftis is a better individual player than Trent McDuffie. But we know that the value of his position and the duration and longevity of that position typically sustains longer than cornerbacks when it comes to being a really good top-tier player. Edge rushers usually are greater longer than corners. Corners age quicker, like the running back position, because it's such a skill-based position. You have to be able to be quick with your hips and your feet and your hands and all that stuff. That's not always the case with edge rushers. Case in point, Karlaftis is a power rusher. So that's why they paid him before they paid McDuffie. That's why they paid Trey Smith, because he protects your $500 million quarterback. This is why I've said all along, and I stick to my guns, they're going to have to figure out a way to move McDuffie and get a hole for him, which I believe will be there, because if you're seeing the trend in the NFL right now, cornerbacks are getting paid. And I believe there's going to be another non-contender out there this offseason that the Chiefs will have discussions with, maybe a myriad of them. There might be a list of these teams out there. They're going to offer a first-round pick for Trent McDuffie, and if that does happen, when that does happen, the Chiefs should not hesitate and make that move and continue the cycle of building their cornerback room through the draft, getting more edge rush, and continue to keep this defense young and cheap so you can continue to spend money on the weapons on the offensive side and give Patrick Mahomes what he needs to continue to further this dynasty into the right direction.
This boils down to exactly what Lance said. Yeah, this is exactly what Lance said. This is Brett Veach has a very hard but very simple job. Okay, every decision I make has to be, how are we going to continue to win? How are we? I hate to say it, continue to be the Patriots of the next 8 to 10 years. We're every year. Oh, the AFC Arrowhead Invitational. Here we go again. And that it hate us because they ain't us. That is what the decisions have to be. The Patriots were notorious for doing. I can't believe they moved off that guy, and they got a second and a fourth rounder. And that guy, the very next season, his numbers dropped 10%. In the second year, he's off the team. They cut him. And those are the decisions that have to be made. I'm not saying that's going to happen to McDuffie. What I am saying is he is better in the slot. He's not. It's not. Like I said, if someone wants to offer, if someone today said, hey, Brett, we'll wait till the end of the year. The second the season's over, we'll give you our first and a day 3 pick for Trent. I think you do it. I think you're all over it. I think you take it. And I think you have to, and here, the storm cloud is no longer on the horizon. It's a full-blown thunderstorm on I-35. Okay. Who is going to catch the ball from Patrick Mahomes? Okay. I don't know if anyone, I understand our 2 boys are out. I get it. I understand. Okay. But Rice has not had a full year. We've seen him on the field. I love him. Xavier Worthy is he's no bigger than me. Where are we going to, eventually you're going to have to address having that go-to 3rd, 6th guy that Kelce's been for Patrick for the last 7 years. I don't know if you can have that guy while having Trent McDuffie on the roster. To me, the cap doesn't make sense, especially after you extend Bolton, after you extend Trey Smith. You've got Jones on a long-term deal locked up. You just drafted a rookie left tackle who looks pretty damn good. There's a lot going on there. So I kind of like that idea. I don't hate it. One thing I would say about Brett Veach, here's where I will give him his flowers. Like every GM, he has his first-round misses, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay, but he's been dang good on day 3. You give that guy day 3 picks, he's nailed some guys. Okay, so I like the idea of giving him more bullets in the gun, so to speak.
Well, and to that point, Shaggy, I want to say one thing, because you literally made a great point about that. I literally tweeted out today just a random thought came to my head about, because I'm seeing a lot of anti-Veach rhetoric out there right now. And I think it's obviously it's because the Chiefs are 0-2, and so everyone's in full-blown panic mode. And I think that's going to be our segue in our next topic here. But, I just wrote this out. Where the Chiefs have drafted in the first round since 2018, which is obviously when Veach took over. In 2018, they obviously didn't have a first-round pick because they traded for Patrick Mahomes the year previous. 2019, they didn't have one because they sent it to Seattle for Frank Clark. 2020, they had the 32nd overall pick. And then in 2021, they traded to Baltimore for Orlando Brown Jr. So for the first 4 seasons of Brett Veach's career as Chiefs GM, he had 1 first-round pick, and it was the last pick of the round. And then if you go down to 2022, you see that he got 21st and 30th because he traded back into the first, got Trent McDuffie, and then 31st in 2023, 28th in 2024, and 32nd again in 2025. So 8 seasons, only 6 first-round picks. None of those picks were in the top 20, and the earliest pick landed them one of the best cornerbacks, Trent McDuffie, in the NFL today. And so that's what I've been trying to explain to people is that there's been such an unfair way that we view the way Brett Veach has been able to be creative and efficient with his first-round picks, because you just nailed it. He's so good in day 3. Why is that? Because he knows that for the Chiefs, it usually starts around then, because they know they're not going to get the top-tier guys in the first. That's why the Josh Simmons selection was so wild to them. That's why Trent McDuffie falling was so wild to them, because they didn't expect those guys to be there when they had an opportunity to get them. But they got those guys, and now you see those pieces as cornerstone assets to this now team. So that is why Brett Veach has been able, and yes, he's made misses. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a miss. They obviously took McCole Hardman before they could have got DK Metcalf. Like, everyone talks about these things, but I can show you 4 first-round picks that Howie Roseman, who's widely considered the best GM in football, where he's absolutely missed since 2011.
Jalen Reagor?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, there's guys like four different players I can name right now since 2011. That's 25% of his first-round picks since 2011. So that's the best. So we're sitting here saying Brett Veach has whiffed. Yes, but you can't count the misses and not the hits, because there's a reason why this team's been to there's a reason why this team's been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, and Brett Veach plays a big part of that.
Right. Let me ask. This will sum this up really fast. Then we can segue. Sorry, Shane.
No, go ahead, please. Happy birthday.
Go ask New England Patriot fans right now. Would you rather have Will Campbell or Josh Simmons?
Exactly, man.
Great question.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay, Julia Gooley says all the good teams have a good running game except us. God bless Cream, but he good for 5. Pacheco was gone, but I want to address Julia, but I first want to bring this up because John was talking about my question, which was, what would you do if you traded in McDuffie now? And John Harrison's he's the man. If they don't sign McDuffie by the season's end, the writing will be on the wall. They can get a bigger haul this spring because of the 5th-year option, 1 year cheaper for another team. Thank you, John. James T. Kirk says, Fulton is always hurt. Keep McDuffie, even if he can't track a football. I think he's got to work on that. I'm not going to rule him out. Is there anything you guys want to say to those 3?
Go ahead, Lance.
Go ahead. No, okay. Well, I'll say this, because these are some regulars for my show on The Spoken, so shout out to everybody for hanging out with us tonight. John makes the best point in all of this, and I'm not trying to dismiss James because that's my boy and he knows I love him. But John makes the best point in all of this because the Chiefs now have leverage. They could say, hey, we understand that McDuffie has leverage in his own right because he sees the market. He sees, hey, there's guys out there that are making money that are not me. Like, they're not better than me. We just saw the Cowboys paid Deron Bland $92 million. Deron Bland is not even in the same paragraph as McDuffie. No. So we're sitting here looking at this market and we're going, okay, well, Trent McDuffie's market starts at $115 million. That's where it starts. So we're realistically looking at a guy that's going to probably make $120 million with $80 million of that guaranteed. Does that sound like a contract that Brett Veach is going to open up the book for a cornerback? No, because the evidence once again shows that he has never done that. And I understand people say, well, McDuffie's the exception. But is he? Because to me, I think the Chiefs look at him and view him as, hey, we can get 4 years, the best portion of his career, and then ship him off and never have to pay him real money and continue this cycle, as opposed to we get the best 4 years of his career, then we pay him for an extra 3 to 4, and he's on the downward slope. I'm not saying McDuffie's going to become ass at 28, 29 years old, but we all have seen, and you just alluded to it perfectly, Matt, about how the Patriots moved on players. Case in point, do y'all remember Stephon Gilmore? That dude was the defensive player of the year. What did the Patriots do the very next season? They traded him. And he was the defensive player of the year. They traded him because what? They saw that he was on the downward slope, that he was as good as he's ever going to be now. Let's capitalize on this because we, at the end of the day, have a roster to build. You don't just be loyal to guys. That's a John Dorsey move, and I love John, but let's be real. That's what he would do. He would sign a veteran that we all know is at his absolute peak at that point, and you can't really afford to give him that kind of money if you're trying to build a real winner. And that is why they moved on with Veach, because he's the kind of guy that sees that. And that's what's happening now, and that's why I do believe We're going to see the Chiefs make an unpopular move amongst a lot of Chiefs fans, but I think in the grand scheme of things, the Chiefs fans are going to understand why this move has to be made, because, again, you have to be cheap somewhere. And if you're not going to be cheap at cornerback, then my question is, where are you going to be cheap? Because they're paying Nick Bolton at linebacker. Chris Jones is under contract for the next 3 years. You're not cheap anywhere on offense. You're paying all this money, rightfully so, because that's where you need to spend money. So where are you going to be cheap at? That's not how this works. You got to choose something. And I think if we're being honest here, a slot corner who's right now at the peak of his powers sounds like an ideal fit for a trade suit or a trade scenario. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Let me ask this to John, and awesome comment, awesome question by him, by the way. Okay, and this would be the question I proposed to him. If you could trade, I don't know if he watches college football, you guys watch college football. Let's just say for conversation's sake, and I'm not saying this is going to happen or anything like that. If you could trade Trent McDuffie for Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith and pair him with Patrick Mahomes, would you do it?
In an absolute heartbeat.
Yeah, I don't. Yes. The answer is yes. Okay. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I'm not saying that exact situation's happening, but you can get from A to B there, and that's what I'm trying to, that would be the argument I would propose.
Right. That's definitely something that we can open up the can. We can open up that can come springtime. All right, let's get to the game. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about Taylor Swift because there's enough Taylor Swift fans that want to talk about that. But she was late coming to the game at Arrowhead Stadium, and this was Taylor Swift's entrance late in the first quarter.
Forward rotating in on the defensive line, but a football advancement by the Eagles just beyond the Kansas City 20. No score, 1:43 to go first quarter.
They're going for 10 offense. Almost got caught with 10 guys on the field. They're not rotating in quickly.
Eagles were perfect in the red zone against Dallas.
Seriously.
They take the snap, they swing it. Swing out left side, two blockers with left at 20, the 15, fighting for a first down is Dillon. A.J. Dillon in his 6th year at Boston College. Connor eventually gets there, but a wide swing screen for 6 and an Eagles first down at the Kansas City 13.
Eagles definitely have some momentum here, but they're changing things up. They're getting to the line quickly. They haven't huddled a couple of times during this drive, and now we're going to try to slow things down on the first attack.
Great block by Kyle Grayson, tight end for the Eagles. Eagles ball at the 13-yard line. They stay double tight end here. Motion behind Hurts. They hit it off, going off behind right tackle, 10-5, touchdown. Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon Barkley. Big hole this time.
I'm going to say this. I don't like it. I think that I wish she would have got there earlier if this was going to be her entrance. Don't get me wrong. I love Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce being happy and all that good stuff, but it just made me feel somewhat uncomfortable just thinking that she had to have a divider, something blocking out her entrance. How did that make you feel watching her enter the stadium, Lance, that late and under those circumstances?
I'm going to be honest, not to dodge the question, but I had zero interest in any of this. I thought it was also, I'm with you, Shaggy. This to me was just a very, just like, oh, what the hell is happening? We've seen her at Arrowhead 55 times at this point. I don't really understand the purpose or the reason behind this. I think, honestly, though, having said that, the saddest part of that whole video was having to hear Mitch Holthus talk about Saquon walking into the end zone. So that's the part I'll absolutely address. That was the sad part, so.
The only thing I would say, and I've said this to everything about the Taylor Swift thing, obviously her and Travis really, really connect, and it works, and I get it. The only thing I would say is the only time it would ever bother me is when we're not making it about football, because that is, why we're all here. It seems to me like this, and it's not a huge deal. I'm not going to cry about it, but it seems like we're not making it about football, and that's the only thing that kind of sticks in my craw with it.
Right. Excellent. All right, let's get to the game. The opening drive. I mean, the Chiefs gave up a first down on defense, but then they got the ball back, and on the second possession, this doesn't have any sound, but we're going to look at this real quick, this 9-second clip of Patrick Mahomes, and he wasn't on the same page with Noah Gray most of the day. Again, this is the second play of the game on offense. He missed him open. That could have. The Chiefs went 3 and out on that opening. The Chiefs went 3 and out on that opening possession. It continued. I mean, that was a perfect pocket And we know the opening possession is always scripted with the Chiefs and most NFL teams. The opening drive is scripted. When you saw Patrick Mahomes overthrowing guys early, Matt, when you saw him not connecting with Noah Gray, do you think that was just early game jitters, or do you think that how did you look at that?
Two things here. Okay. So, and all Chiefs fans, take a breath. What I'm about to say, it's okay. I still think he is the savior of the franchise. His deep ball is slipping. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. It's not as good as it was when he had Tyreek. Okay. I think he's a little rattled. Okay. This is the same team that physically abused him in the Super Bowl. Okay. I think he was rattled. He doesn't trust that. He doesn't trust that O-line still yet. Okay. And that's, I think he's just, I think you may have even sent it to me, Shane. There's a clip, or maybe somebody did on Twitter, where his left side of the line, ball snapped and he loses off the whistle, and Patrick throws the ball a second and a half too early. Okay. And this happened multiple times. I'm not trying to make excuses for Patrick by any means. Okay. I think he's still trying to learn some trust with that O-line of, hey, yeah, we got you. We can get you your 3-4 seconds. Okay. That's kind of what I see. But I mean, let's just call what it is. He missed 2 or 3 throws. Doesn't mean he's not the best quarterback alive. Doesn't mean he's not the most talented quarterback I've ever seen play football. He missed a couple throws. It happens. I'll tell you this. I'm not worried. Not at all. So that just kind of my initial thoughts.
You know, I usually I'm just gonna say this real quick to add to that. I usually hate the inter sport comparisons because I think that they oftentimes just get a little silly. But one thing I will say is when you talk about like looking at like a pitcher, usually pitchers are viewed as like the quarterback of a baseball team, basically. When you're in a playoff series, it's really coming down to who's on the mound. And that's what it comes down to in the NFL is who's your quarterback. That usually will give you the best chance of winning. And obviously we know that Patrick Mahomes came into this league blazing, guns and just did what he did. Like Matt's talking about with Tyreek Hill, and how it was just a gun show out there, man. And, they were having fun and just throwing 40, 50, 60-yard bombs. And I think Matt's onto something here. And I think the biggest reason why, and it's what no one wants to address, is the fact that when you're cold, it's hard to get hot immediately. And when you have an offense that for the last 2+ years has not been built to play that style of football based on injuries or just a lackluster room of wide receivers, whatever the case is, you're not going to be able to have that down. Patrick is the best quarterback I have ever seen play football. And that, even him, it's hard for him to just go, you know what? Let's just start throwing the ball accurately 55 yards down the field because F it. That's not how this works. You have to be in rhythm. There has to be a confidence. And when you already have a lackluster wide receiver room due to injuries and or just bad players, and you've had a rotating door at left tackle, the most important position on an offensive line, and outside of quarterback, probably the most important position on a football field, the trust gets a little weary for the man, and he's probably got some happy feet. He probably feels like he needs to get the ball a little quicker, or he's a little jolted, and he wants to throw a little bit more oomph on the ball and sails it 12 feet over Noah Gray's head. That's a recipe, man. That is what has caused this. I'm telling you guys, that's why the Josh Simmons draft pick was so important, because if he alleviates that pressure, because we remember, it wasn't just Tyreek Hill that was giving Patrick Mahomes that opportunity. The man had 2 stable horses at left and right tackle in Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz. They gave him all that confidence that he's going to have time in that pocket to deliver the ball without having to think twice about it. And he hasn't had that, not even close. Now he has that opportunity to finally have the guys around him at all areas of the football field. If Xavier Worthy becomes that guy, Rashee Rice gets back to being what we know him to be, you're going to see the Patrick that was fun come back. And I'm not talking about Patrick has to run for his life. I'm talking about Patrick can sit in that pocket and zip the ball better than anyone we've ever seen play this game of football. And I think it will return, and I think it's going to become a non-starter once again when it comes to this conversation. But right now, this is what we're up against, guys. This is what Patrick's up against. And shout out to him for being able to adjust, because we've seen quarterbacks throughout history say, no, this is how I play. We're going to make it work, and I don't care if I throw 4 interceptions. Patrick has found a way to check the ball down, play the unsexy style of football, and win Super Bowls that way. That's why I know this guy's going to get back to what he knows he can do, because he's been patient and he understands that's how the process process of building rosters goes, man, as your career goes on. He's going to play a long time, guys. Patrick's going to play 15 plus years. So there's going to be chapters and different parts of his career that, kind of go up and down when it comes to what's around you. But if he overcomes it, it's not going to matter. We're not going to sit here in 10, 15 years from now and go, hey, remember that one time when, Patrick Mahomes couldn't throw the deep ball? No, we're going to sit here and go, hey, remember that one time when Patrick Mahomes won, 7 Super Bowls in 15 years? Like, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk about the results, not how he got there.
Sure. I would even go back here to allude Lance's point even more here. Okay. Do you remember like when we traded Tyreek and we started getting a lot more zone thrown at us and he was just killing people with Travis Kelce in zone? People aren't doing that anymore because they don't fear Kelce. Okay. So because of that, what they can do is, hey, we send 4 or 5 guys, get pressure, man these guys up. You'll get rid of the ball too early. They've learned that. Patrick Mahomes, like I said, most talented quarterback I've ever seen play. He's also human. Okay. So we got to remember that they're given, he doesn't have, if they were in man-to-man and sending 4 or 5 guys and they weren't bracketing Kelce and Kelce was in his prime, Travis Kelce would be the offensive player of the year, Patrick Mahomes would MVP. That is, I promise you, that's not the team anymore. Travis is 36 years old. Okay. And they're bracketing him. Go watch the all 22 from set. I mean, they're bracketing him every time. I mean, that's what they're doing. So I'm not worried in the slightest. Right. I think Rashee Rice comes back. I think Worthy comes back. I think him and Worthy, if there's any silver lining from the Super Bowl, they got their timing down on that deep ball. They've got it now. Okay. And that kid, Worthy is, I'll debate anybody on this. Worthy gets a step on you. He's just as lethal, if not more lethal than Tyreek. Okay. We're fine. Rashee Rice, I remember remember opening night last year against Baltimore? He cooked that secondary.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. Everyone's panic. I'm going to steal a phrase from a guy. I'm not a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers. Everybody take a deep breath. Okay. I think I tweeted this today. I think Shane, you maybe even liked it. We could start 1-5. Still wouldn't be panicked. I'd be like, we're fine. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we also got, I'm going to play this overthrow because I feel like some people have been unhappy with Thornton. I've heard some people being critical of him, saying he's not running fast enough. I want you to look at this and I want you to tell me if you think people should be critical of Thornton on this.
Attack for the Eagles today. Mahomes going deep. Got a man wide open. Thornton, and he missed him. Tyquan Thornton, there was no one home, but they couldn't connect.
Oh, they just completely drop him in the deep part of the field. Jackson, Blankenship
oh my goodness,
kind of just banged up there on a play, running into one another. They run into one another. Thornton all by himself. Oh no, that gets him right in the game.
Now that we've seen that pass, I know we just talked about it in depth. Do you fall to Thornton for any of that? Do you think that any criticism of Thornton?
I'll start right here. No, I do not fault Thornton. And I think this is just, again, a prime example of the timing. I mean, Matt just said it about how it took pretty much the entire season for Xavier Worthy, who's a first-round pick, to get on the same page with Patrick Mahomes. Tyquan Thornton is a failed player with his previous regime. I think he's a second-round pick with the Patriots. He came over here as just a throw-in, basically. He was the guy that was just trying for the team, ended up making it because he was showing some promise, and he's been slowly getting it down. He's still getting this offense down because we know Andy has a very particular, very detailed offense. So it takes receivers a lot of time for them to get this. And Tyquan is a guy that's had to overcome a lot in his young career. So now he's doing this with Patrick Mahomes on the fly. And now you're seeing that they're trying to still get on the same time. Because let's be real. Tyquan Thornton, no matter what was going on, let's say he's healthy and everything's just good and perfect for him, the idea was for him to be a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 for this team. They had no intensive purposes of him becoming a guy that's going to be a wide receiver to this team. We knew this was going to be an offense that ran through Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, then Travis Kelce, and then it's just a list of guys that will contribute because we know Patrick loves spreading the ball out, and Tyquan was going to fit somewhere into all that. Now he's kind of at the forefront, and you saw it 40 seconds later, Patrick put it right right on his chest, and he caught the ball on a contested ball in the end zone and made it a spectacular play. And this is coming from a guy that initially thought he wasn't going to make the team. Now he's showing us that he's got promise. I think it was just Patrick and him not being in rhythm, not being on the same page. And quite frankly, if we're going to really blame anybody, it's on Patrick because he kind of put the ball a little more to the left. Taekwon had a wide open field down the middle. There was no safety, nothing right there. He could have moonwalked to the end zone. The ball was just a little to the left.
I just to echo Lance really fast. There's no, again, it happens, but Patrick missed it. He missed it. That's just what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It happens. To Lance's point, a play later, he puts one right. My dog's going crazy. Sorry, guys. Puts it right on his chest, right in the middle of the numbers for a touchdown. So here's the thing. Here's one thing I want to say. And not to bash the kid, because I think he's a good kid, and I think he's actually going to be around for a year or two. I think the kid does have promise. Sure. He was cut from a bad Patriots receiving room. Okay, what are your expectations? Do you think this kid, when he got here, was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, you're going to play the defending Super Bowl champions, and you're probably going to be the 1 or 2 target"? I mean, did you like? I mean, what are your expectations for the guy? I'm not trying to discredit or discount the guy, but. He did. We throw a 55-yard bomb the next play, and he contested ball against a good corner. He holds on in the end zone. It happens. It's people forget this because they were so good at it. Patrick missed Tyreek a couple times. It happens. It's not the end of the world.
And let's look at that touchdown connection between Patrick Mahomes and Taekwon.
5-man pressure this time, but it's picked up. Mahomes loaded up, going deep. Has Thornton again. This time. Touchdown!
Let's just keep throwing it. They will eventually connect, and you love to see it because, like you just said, Matt, we're at the bottom of the barrel. Rashee Rice is suspended. And Worthy's hurt, and Jalen Wills, we haven't even seen him play an NFL game yet, but we know as a rookie in this offense that he has to learn. He has to get his feet wet, and it's going to take him several weeks to gain some offensive continuity with Patrick. So it's important that Patrick continues to grow with Thornton. All right, the tush push has been getting a lot of pub. In my opinion, I don't mind if you run it as long as it's legal. Let's look at what they were saying when it happened, guys.
And that's an animated Andy Reid right there.
I don't see a penalty, though.
He punched the ball.
Well, they say...
We've seen a bunch of different instant replays from that tush push, Matt. I'm going to start with you. I feel like if you can run it legally, it's okay. But how did all the referees miss? I want to know how all those referees missed both of those offensive guards freaking bashing into the defensive line before the center hiked the ball to Jalen Hurts. What's your take, Matt?
I've actually defended the play for the last 3 years. Not to sugarcoat anything, anyone ban it, you're a crybaby. You want to ban it because you can't stop it. That's why I thought, here's what I'm going to say. Something, and it's not just the Chiefs game. Go watch the Cowboys game from opening night. 2 things have fundamentally changed with this play. And then Tom Brady made a great point on the broadcast too, okay, that I never thought of. The center is lining up in the neutral zone every single time. When Jason Kelce was the center, they were not doing that, okay? Do a side-by-side clip. It's not once or twice. Every time this guy's lining up in the neutral zone. And now 50% of the time, the guards are moving early. I don't know if anyone caught this, okay? But they kind of alluded to it, tip-tap-toe around it. They obviously can't come out and say it. The fact of the matter is, I don't put any of this on Alex Kemp and the crew. I don't think they can see it. I think it's a good chunk of yardage away, and it's a scrim, like just pile of bodies right there. You can't tell who's moving early. 90%. Trust me. I was at the Monday night game where Carl Cheffers called roughing the passer. I do not defend referees. Okay. In this case, what do you want them to do? They can't see what's going on. So for me, it's okay. The play is fundamentally different than it was even last year with the center lining up illegally, the guards clearly moving early. Tom Brady made a great point that I never thought of. Okay. you can't tell when his forward progress ends either. You have no idea where he's at. Nobody can tell. And one more thing that I noticed, and I'm not saying it was a fumble, simultaneous possession belongs to the offense. What if someone does strip him and he's not down? I mean, but you can't see it in there, and they're going to go off the whistle. The play, and I've defended it for years. I defended it when they beat us in the Super Bowl. I defended it when we beat them in the Super Bowl. I am done defending this play. It is too hard to officiate. They can't see it. Okay. I'll say this. A lot of my friends have said it, and I agree with Shane. If you can officiate it, legally, do it. You can't. I don't think you can anymore. I think it's too difficult. And my argument to Eagles fans that are going to cry about this: you spent $20 million on a running back. Hand the ball off.
Right. Go ahead, Lance. What you take?
Yeah, that is Matt is echoing my sentiments here, because when I first saw this play emerge, I thought, well, damn, maybe the Eagles found something that is just simply unstoppable because they're the only team that can really run it the way they do. And then it started to change and evolve, and then it became just a flat-out illegal play just based upon the formation alone, on how the center is literally over the neutral line, and the guards are jumping the snap every single time, and yet the NFL's got time to micromanage Juwan Taylor. They got time for that, but they can't for the life of them get this down. And Matt's right. They cannot officiate this play, and that is why it needs to be banned. It is the stupidest crap in the NFL, because if you can't officiate it, it shouldn't be in your game. I can't believe it took Tom Brady and Dean Blandino to spell it out in front of the whole world and say, hey, guys, this is stupid. For us to finally go, hey, guys, this is stupid. Wow, where are we at? It's 2025
one
up in
thing,
here.
Tom Brady's not been too good to the Chiefs kingdom, but he delivered us one there. If Tom Brady said it, I got buddies who are Eagles fans that they did a touchdown dance, and I said, well, I sure hope it was worth it, because that play is gone. I'm a crybaby, this and that. Okay, well, you guys fundamentally changed the play. It's not the play it was with Jason Kelce. It's not the play it was last year. It is a different play now. Okay, it's an illegal play. You can't line up like it. If you told me, all right. And I said this, a buddy of mine who's a very, very nice Eagles fan. He's a good dude. And we were tweeting at each other today. I feel so bad for the crew that gets the Rams Eagles on Sunday. I feel terrible for that crew, because you have to do one of two things. You either have to call that false start or that neutral zone infraction in Philadelphia, or you may not walk out of the building that night. Okay? Or you have to let it go again and then get crucified by Adam Schefter on ESPN the next morning.
Yeah.
I feel whoever gets that game, unless it's Carl Cheffers, then you got what you're in. But whatever ref gets that, if it's Cleet Blakeman or whoever, I am so sorry. You are in a no-win situation, my friend.
I think the majority of our viewers today feel the same way. Tabitha says if the refs can't tell what's going on, they shouldn't be allowed to run the play. True. And Super Double Juice says they can't see down the line and look to see if they're in front of the ball. Facts. John Harrison says, then the damn sideline judge needs to run in and tell the center to back up. It's a massive NFL refereeing error. Guys, I'm old. I've been watching football since 1977, and it is odd. It is more odd than Chris Collinsworth 2.5 years ago saying Juwan Taylor moved. I think we need to see that game. We need to see the refs put their foot down between the Rams and the Eagles, because the week after that, they're going to keep following the Eagles. The Eagles play in Tampa Bay, and that's going to be a hell of a game too. In 2 weeks, the Eagles at the Buccaneers. Now that this is out and it's in the forefront, hey, we need to watch out for all these false starts. We need to watch this, that, and the other. Now that I'm glad Blandino said, this is impossible for the refs to call, because millions of people watched this game Sunday. It was the most watched game of the weekend. I'm going to look and see what happens next week between the Rams and the Eagles, as well as the week after between the Eagles and Buccaneers, because I think now that it is out there, there needs to be something addressed with that. All right, Travis Kelce, we're going to talk about this now. This was after Patrick Mahomes' touchdown. We're all happy, and I think even the TV announcer, Tom Brady's co-anchor that calls the game with him on Fox was even thought that Kelce was happy. But let's look at Travis Kelce's reaction as soon as just moments after Patrick Mahomes caught the touchdown. Let's look at Kelce's reaction.
15 yards, taking it himself. He's got 70 yards rushing. Don't forget the 4th down conversion to Kelce. He's like, let's go. 10-7, Super Bowl rematch, Chiefs.
All right, he said, I'm sick of this stuff. We're keeping this rated PG-13. He threw his helmet down. That was after the touchdown. This is before the drop. This is in the first quarter when the Chiefs got the lead 7-3. We saw him with Jawan Taylor in Brazil, when we all want to confront Jawan Taylor because of his play sometimes. But is it me, or does Kelce seem like he's a bit angrier than normal? What do you think, Matt?
Here's what I'd say. I think Travis is a great competitor. I mean, listen, you don't drool yourself to being the greatest tight end of all time. That's not how that works. I'm going to steal a take from Nick Wright from yesterday. Okay. I think what he's frustrated about, and I think I think even Travis would admit he's part of the problem. I have never seen Patrick scramble and use his legs this early in the season like this. He's never had to. That is playoff Patrick. His ability to break your back with a third and 14. Oh, he did it to us again. The fact that he has to do this in week 1 and week 2. I don't know if you saw this. I tweeted this out. Patrick Mahomes is on course to have 1,045 rush yards and 7 rushing TDs this year. That's what he's on course for right now. That's not good. That's a bad thing, guys. I think he's frustrated with that we're already leaning into Patrick's, what I call it, Patrick's ace in the hole. I tweeted this out after that scramble. I said, there's no quarterback in my lifetime, including Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick, has been better at 3rd and long ever at it, period, end of conversation. I think what Travis is frustrated with, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here, is that we are resorting to this early in the year.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Travis Kelce has been one of the 2 biggest reasons why this team is winning the way that they've been winning over the last several years. A lot of people think he's the longest tenured player. Technically not. James Winchester was drafted right before him, or was he? He was a 3rd round pick. So technically Travis is the longest tenured player. So the oldest guy on the team would know what this would do to a guy's body, especially when Patrick Mahomes turns 30, I believe, tomorrow. We all look at Patrick, and this is the thing that kind of frustrates me with the coaching staff, and this is where they kind of, I think, take a brunt of this, is I think that when you have an amazing player on your team, whether you're a coach or a fellow member of the team, and, use LeBron, Michael Jordan, any of the all-time greats, right? You kind of almost get caught up in the spectacle sometimes. I think you kind of start watching like everyone else. You almost like become a fan. And I think I've even heard our commentators talk about this, about sometimes everyone just kind of gets caught up in the beauty of the Mahomes magic. And you almost start to lean on it a little bit too much. And that is exactly what's happening right now. Now, the Chiefs do have context. They're missing their 2 best weapons. And I would probably assume the fact that if they had at least Xavier Worthy right now, Patrick's not having to run for his life right now and try to, get Emmitt Smith's rushing record. So, yeah, I would imagine that would be a little bit different. And Travis is seeing that, and he's frustrated because even though, yes, they're missing guys, Travis understands what they have around him, and he believes it's enough to get this offense going to where Patrick doesn't have to force things, because that's exactly what Patrick Mahomes is having to do right now, and you saw it immediately in the game. This is the kind of stuff that Patrick does in the postseason, like Nick said and like Matt just said. This is the stuff he saves for the postseason to extend on 3rd downs, 4th downs, things like that, so the defense isn't prepared for it. But now it's all over the film, and the NFL, and now these defenses are going to be like, all right, we're going to force you to give the ball to Isaiah Pacheco. We're going to force you to give it to Kareem Hunt, because we are not going to let Patrick Mahomes run the ball. We're not going to let him have those empty, flat areas. We're not going to let him get these 3rd and 6s, and maybe they'll still fail, but now it's going to become a part of the game plan, and that means that he's going to start getting hit more, and I don't like that thought. You guys know I don't like Patrick even playing in the preseason. I always say put him in bubble wrap, because he doesn't need this. But now we're seeing that we might have to put him in bubble wrap during the season because the man's taking unnecessary hits, and it's because the guys around him. So I say all that to say that's the frustration that Travis had, and even though, and we're going to talk about the rest of the game in just a second, at that time of the game, when I saw Travis frustrated, I immediately knew what it was, and I was 100% on board with him because he did not do anything wrong, because this is what the leadership of Travis Kelce entails. He's the vocal, vulgar, in-your-face type leader. That's not really how Patrick goes about things. That's definitely not how Andy Reid goes about things. That's not their style. But you need a guy like Travis Kelce who's going to jump someone's ass and say, hey, we got to do better. We got to do better. We jumping Juwan Taylor's butt about it. That was a great thing to see. But also, and again, we're going to talk about it in a second, that there has to be a certain level of follow through with that veteran type of leadership as well. But at that point, I was 100% with Travis Kelce on that.
I couldn't say it better. Could not have said it better.
All right. I got to show this, the drop.
Blitz, Mahomes over the middle, Kelce. Oh, it's picked off. It's Makuba who's got it, and room to run. One man to beat, and he's taken out. Andrew Makuba, the rookie from Texas, on the bounce off of Kelce, and a huge play for the Eagles.
It was a bad look. It was a game changer. It was a 14-point swing. I want to say this. Of course, I didn't like the drop. I didn't like the no hustle in running back to the cornerback. Our freaking number one draft pick, Josh Simmons, the left tackle, was running 18 miles an hour to chase him down to force him out of bounds. Great job, Josh. But my concern was the drop and then the interception and then no hustle to get back. And third thing I'll say, criticizing Kelce. Don't get me wrong, I love him. When Kelce retires, me and Lance are going to go out and drink margaritas and eat Mexican food and throw down a couple beers and celebrate Travis Kelce's Hall of Fame career because he is the man. But after you do that, and you're the reason why the team lost, when the media comes in the locker room, you sit at the stool in front of your locker with 84 mics in your face, and you say, it was my fault. I was the reason for this loss. Put this loss on my back. Instead, when the local media came into the locker room, Travis Kelce was already gone, and Patrick Mahomes got up in his own press conference and said, he took the fall. He took the sword for Travis Kelce and said, I could have threw a better pass. I could have put it on him square. I could have threw it more to his body. Props to Patrick Mahomes for taking the fall for that. But anybody with any football IQ knows, Travis Kelce, he should have caught that football, and if he didn't, he should have ran after the guy, and then he should have sat in front of the freaking locker in his stool and answered every question, not wait till he goes on his podcast tomorrow on New Heights and say, yeah, I screwed up. Wrong, Kelce. You sit there and you freaking sit there on your stool in front of the media and say, this was my fault. We lost the game. Lance, am I being too harsh? Matt, I want your take, but I want Lance to go first.
So this might be the one aspect that I think Matt and I might see things just a little differently, and I want to put words in Matt's mouth, but we kind of had a little bit of a warm-up before the show, and I love that. Matt was right out the gate. He wanted to know my thoughts on this particular situation, and there's a reason why I believe that was the case, because I think we all know deep down this was the play of the game. This is what I believe decided this game. The Chiefs had an opportunity to go up to 17-13, and if they had that kind of play, that kind of momentum shift, when we knew that Jalen Hurts could not find anybody, I mean, he looked like Alex Smith on his worst day. He could not throw the ball beyond 3 to 4 yards. Their best throw of the day was Nick Sirianni's challenge flag. That's the best throw the Eagles had all game long. And I'm going to start by just saying this real quick, and I don't want to take too much time here because more importantly, I want to get Matt's take on this, but the obvious of all of this is that Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end I've ever seen. I think he's the greatest in NFL history. The 1,000-yard streaks, the postseason numbers, I don't think you can't match it. And being just able to stay healthy like he has, it's just so unprecedented. The way he's been able to be up there with guys like Larry Fitzgerald, receivers, like he's putting up numbers like these guys. It's just stupid. But I'm forever grateful for what he's done for my favorite team in the world. But if you're asking my honest opinion about this situation, there's two strong opinions I have about this. He cost the Chiefs these two games, and I say that with every ounce of my being. I mean that. Travis Kelce cost the Chiefs these last 2 games. And again, it's not all his fault because the Chiefs have injuries, so you can blame that. But when it comes to situational football and the Chiefs having legitimate opportunities, it'd be one thing if the Chargers just blew them out. It'd be one thing if the Eagles just came in here and redid the Super Bowl again. We're not having this discussion then. They had opportunities to win both these games, and Travis Kelce dropped 2 touchdowns. And they lost by a combined 9 points, fellas. 14 points is over 9 points, correct? So the Chiefs would have won these 2 games had Travis. People say that's unfair. Is it? Because if Travis Kelce catches the balls and they win both the games and they're 2-0 as opposed to 0-2, are we not praising him for those catches? You see how this works? Like, it can't be one way and not the other. And the biggest problem I have with this, because, again, Travis Kelce has covered so many issues this offense has had for years. The Chiefs have not had great wide receiver play on a consistent basis. That was even in times of Tyreek Hill's years. 2021, this offense was in shambles, and Tyreek Hill was here for 7-8 weeks. They figured it out, but the point is we've seen problems, and Travis Kelce has been the biggest comfort blanket for Patrick Mahomes since he took over. But that's no longer the case, and that's okay because he's going to be 36 in a month. We don't expect him to be that guy anymore. But when a ball hits you in the freaking hands, bro, you got to catch the damn ball. Patrick put that on the money both games, and both times he dropped the ball. But that's not the biggest issue I have. It's not even just the result of the plays. It's the fact this dude's jumping Juwan Taylor's ass in the first game. He's throwing his helmet early in the game, having his quarterback's back, and he's sitting here saying, I'm tired of this. We got to do better. And he's right. He's 100% right, and I'm so glad he jumped Juwan Taylor's ass. I'm so glad he was on the sidelines doing that. But when you're that guy, you have to back that up with your performance. And so far this season, he's not done that. And if you can't do that, then you need to hang it up. I'm not saying he needs to retire right now or anything ridiculous like that. But if you're putting someone else out there and saying, hey, be accountable, do your job, brother, you got to do the same thing. And you've dropped 2 easy passes that would have resulted in 2 wins for this team. And for you to not make yourself available, I don't try to, overly criticize players with the media stuff because, man, these guys are at everyone's access. I mean, they're on social media, they're on every commercial, they're in Happy Gilmore too. Like, everyone's got access to these dudes at this point, right? But at the same time, like, dude, it shows a certain amount of leadership to the young guys that are watching your every move on this team of how to handle adversity. And when you don't make yourself available, that sends only one message, that you are not being accountable. And that is the opposite message, that you were sending to your own teammates in the same games that you weren't accountable in. So that's my problem with Travis. I know he's going to do better than this. I know he's going to make far more greater plays than plays negatively. But at the same time, this was a massive loss for both the team and, in my opinion, Travis Kelce's personal integrity. I know he's going to own it on his podcast, and that's great and all, but dude, in the moment, in those times, that's when you need to own it because that's when everyone's paying attention the most.
I actually agree with everything Lance said on part 2. I like, dude, you are the heart and soul of this squad. You're calling people out, and then you're making the same mistakes that's costing us football games, dude. Here's where I'll push back, that it's on him or it's his fault we lost these 2 games. Butker misses a kick. That doesn't happen. Andy Reid has a terrible coaching gaffe on 4th and 1. How often does that happen? Eagles need to run an illegal play, and they only won by 3 points. Okay, and we dropped a touchdown in the end zone for an interception. Okay, there is 6 plays in that game that goes Kansas City's way. All 3 of us are going, where's, pardon my French for the PG-13 show, but where's your belt to ass now, boys? Like that's, where one of those plays goes our way, we're having a different conversation. In a game, we didn't play very well. I mean, the defense was outstanding. I'm not going to say that, but in a game where the offense, quarterbacked by Pat Mahomes, was vanilla, no spark, nothing, 1 or 2 plays away from winning the game. So I'm not going to put that completely on Travis. Not only, Travis, are you the heart and soul holding people accountable, I will argue this with any diehard Chiefs fan. You are the most famous football player in the world right now. More than Patrick Mahomes, more than Jalen Hurts, more than Josh Allen. You are dating the most famous person on the planet. You're engaged, most famous person on the planet. Everything you do is under a microscope, dude. You can't sneeze without the paparazzi knowing it. Okay?
Yes.
It comes with a little bit of unfair territory. Do I understand why he wanted to split? after that game. Yes, I get it. He's probably not in the best mood. He deals with media a lot. You also asked for it, and I'm not discrediting anything. I believe there's the conspiracy theory that him and Taylor's relationship is for show is the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. If anyone would pay attention to any of this, but you kind of asked for it when you started dating her. Everybody, relationships come with pluses and they come with consequences. Okay. Yep. You chose to do this, dude. You're going to get held to a standard way different than everybody else. I agree with Lance. You're calling people out for being accountable. And you're right. He's going to go on New Heights tomorrow and he's going to go, this is on me. I'll commend him for it because that's who Travis is. And it's why he's the heart and soul of this squad. You can't have your cake and eat it too, brother. You got to sit there and you got to go in front of the 84 media and go, I'm why we lost. You have to do it. That does two things. Okay. Two things when you do that. One, Josh Simmons, first round pick, looks at that and goes, I have to do that now. If Travis Kelce does it, I have to do that now. Okay. That's a huge deal. Okay. I am a huge Michael Jordan guy. And Michael Jordan has a quote from The Last Dance. And this is exactly what I thought when I heard this situation. One thing my teammates could never say about Michael Jordan. He never asked me to do something that I didn't effing do. Okay. I'm sorry, man. And that's the rules.
Well said, Matt. Well said, Lance. Like I said, the fact that he didn't sit there in front of the stool and answer all the questions with the mics in his face. But another thing, I will commend Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes could have went behind the scene and said, I got this. Go ahead and go. Get out of here. You and Taylor go ahead and split. I got this. And they're best friends and buds. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Patrick said, I'm going to take care of it. And he did. And he went up to the podium and said, I could have threw a better pass. But definitely something that we're going to watch moving forward. All right. Let's get to these comments here. We got 4. Bucker is usually money, just like Kelce. He didn't hit that. Honestly, who cares who he's marrying? Who did Taylor hurt? Ha ha. Jordan is the GOAT. What's up, Lance? We don't have time to get into that because Lance is a big LeBron guy and
listen, I've always been a Jordan guy too. I grew up in the 90s, damn it. You guys don't do this to me. I hate when people are like, oh, I'm Ford, I'm Chevy guy. Like, they're trucks. If they work, they work. I don't care. Jordan was amazing. LeBron's amazing. There's certain things we can talk about later. Yes. Go to the Spoken podcast. We'll talk.
Chiefs and Giants, Sunday Night Football. Both teams are 0-2. Coming in, prime time, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Matt, what are you looking at? Give me a prediction, and what do you think is going to happen, buddy?
Sure. So I am a big fan I have a financial services master's degree, okay? And one thing we learned in this degree is follow the money, okay? We are 6-point road favorite, okay? We're a 6-point road favorite. That means if it was in the greatest stadium on planet Earth, we'd be a 12-point favorite. That tells you something. Guys, Buffalo's a 12-point favorite Thursday night against Miami. Okay? So everybody, Chiefs Kingdom, I want you to do this with me. Take a deep breath. Okay? I think we win the game. I think it's scoreboard close, 21-17. We probably struggle to move the ball. They got a good front seven. I think we get it done. I think it's a classic Andy Reid out coaches day ball. We out scheme you. Patrick makes 3 or 4 more plays and we get out of MetLife for the W. That's what I think is going to happen. It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be some time. There's going to be a couple of offensive series when I'm doing this number, and stuff like that. The only way I could see the Giants winning this game is if we have the turnover bug, or if I could see this because this happened to us, early in Patrick's career, where they put in a rookie quarterback, i.e. Justin Herbert, and he had a very good game because we just didn't really know how to scheme for him. I could see them plugging in Dart and see him having a little bit of success because Spags doesn't know what he's throwing at him yet. Now, you play the game a year later and Spag's got a full tilt of tape, he's gonna, you're in for a long day. But my gut tells me it's a game where Kansas City can control the ball. It's a game where Kansas City, Patrick can make 3 or 4 more plays. Outside of, and maybe I'm being a little disrespectful here when I say this, I just saw enough of Russell Wilson to where I'm not concerned. I know he had a great game. I'm not taking it away from him. He had a great game against a bad Dallas defense. This is not a Brian Schottenheimer on the fly Dallas defense. This is a Steve Spagnuolo with 4 or 5 Hall of Fame players on the defense. I think do you remember back to that 2021 season, Lance? I think you'll remember this, where we played them on Monday night and we won 20-17 and it looked ugly, but we had to kick a field goal, a kick at the end. That's kind of game I'm expecting, where, we're going to be sitting there and, and I'll just be like, we won, but I don't feel any better about it. That's kind of my.
Lance, I know you don't give up a score until Sunday, a game day. So I think this is a game the Chiefs pull away and win 31-17. What do you think?
I think the Chiefs are coming into a situation where they're playing a desperate team that's actually got some pretty underrated talent. I agree with Matt that you follow the money. I'm going to give my full-fledged prediction on Saturday on the Spoken Podcast, obviously, but I will say this. The Chiefs cannot take the Giants lightly. I think the Chiefs are clearly the better team, even though they're 0-2. And they've been a disappointment in that regard. But Matt's 100% correct in the fact this team is going to be just fine. The Chiefs there's context to where the Chiefs are at right now. It's all we've been breaking it down all night. It's coming down to execution. If the Chiefs execute, they are at the top of the AFC West right now, like they have been for the last better part of a decade. And that's what's going to end up happening as the season progresses, because they're going to get healthier and they're going to get right, especially offensively. And the defense showed you against the defending Super Bowl champions that they will click. This is a young secondary and a pass rush that is learning their way. It's getting Norman Lott. First game of his career, rock bottomed Jalen Hurts. I think that you're going to see him become more of a normalcy in this defense. Ashton Gelati seemed like that. But on the flip side, I'm always looking at the opponent because I know what I expect from the Chiefs each and every week, even if they don't deliver that. On the opposite side, you see a Giants team that's feeling really good about themselves. Even in a loss, they put up 37 points against a divisional rival in their house. I don't expect Russell Wilson to play anything close to that again because I believe Russ is way past his prime. He's been cooked for years, and I think that game was just a absolute fluke. You can call that disrespect. I don't give a damn. That was a fluke game. He was literally just throwing moonballs to Malik Neighbors and Rondell Robinson, or whatever the hell his name is. They look like Jerry Rice and Randy Moss out there. That's not happening again. So I'm expecting a very ugly, close, low-scoring game, but I hope the Chiefs understand that they are facing a desperate team in front of the national audience, a team that is fighting for their job. Brian Daboll is fighting for his job right now. That is why you will see Jackson Dart in this game. I'm not saying he'll start. I'm not saying he's going to play a bunch. I'm saying they're going to try to throw the Chiefs off because this is their Super Bowl right now. If Brian Daboll wins this game, he's not getting fired, straight up. If they beat the Chiefs and in front of a national audience on Sunday night, Brian Daboll is keeping his job. So Brian Daboll knows what this game means to the team. Even though it's an interconference game and it doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things to this team, they know what this game actually means for his job. And I think this team likes Brian Daboll. I know they fight, but a lot of times infighting oftentimes shows that everyone cares and they're passionate and they just want to win. So I think Brian Daboll still has this team. I don't think he's lost the locker room. I think that they also know that they have a young quarterback that Brian Daboll's trying to show to his team and his bosses, hey, I can develop this guy into a franchise quarterback. Just give me the opportunity. And I think this game means a lot to the Giants, and I think the Chiefs need to take this game very seriously for obvious reasons. You know, being 0-2 kind of sucks. Being 0-3 would be even worse. But they also need to know this team's going to come out here and they're going to, the Giants are just going to throw everything out there. There's no pressure on the Giants when it comes to the execution of the game. Like, they're just going to be like, hey, we're just going to give it our all. If it doesn't work, I'm going to get fired. And who the hell cares at that point? So we're just going to come out guns blazing and do whatever the hell we want to do. Let's just go out on our sword. And that's what the Chiefs need to counter. That's how the Chiefs need to be effective. And John Harrison said it in the comments, 100% correct. The one thing the Giants defense does struggle against is the run game. Hey, Chiefs, how about we scheme up some good runs? I don't know. Just throwing that out there. I don't know. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. I'm sound like Alex Jones out here, but let's do it. Let's just do it.
Oh man, Clay from Red Tribe Cinema says we lose another Piola era shill. I'm gonna throw myself into the Missouri River. Don't do that, Clay.
I'll join you, Clay. I'll join you.
Hey, just remember the Chiefs started 1-5 and lost Jamal Charles 10 years ago, and we still rattled off 10 straight wins with picking up Spencer Ware off the Seahawks practice squad and Charkandrick West. So
I think Matt had something to say real quick, Shaggy.
Yeah, I want him to say.
Oh,
so
sorry,
let's not count them out even if they lose, but they're not going to lose. Go ahead, Matthew. Matt, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Here, two things. One thing for Clay from Red Tribe Cinema, and then schematically, you got to bracket neighbors. If you put two guys like White on Rice with neighbors and you heat Russ up a little bit, I don't see how I just don't see them moving the ball. Right. I mean, take neighbors out of the game, heat Russ up. Russ does not like pressure. He's old. He's got a lot of money. He's dating a famous person. Heat him up. Spagnola style. Keep heating him up. He'll fold. They'll fold. But he's right. This is a team that is, you got a quarterback with nothing to lose or a rookie quarterback with nothing to lose and a head coach coaching for his job. Got to play your ass off. Pardon my French. You have to. Every play, you got to take them seriously. You take neighbors out of the game, you heat Russ up. I don't see them consistently moving the ball. Patrick's going to make 3 or 4 plays. It's going to be ugly. We're going to groan about it. I'm going to complain on Twitter about the offense, and we'll win 20-17, 21-17. Shout out to Red Tribe Cinema. Shout out to Clay. For it feels like 6-7 years now, he's been making the coolest YouTube videos ever, and I just wanted to give him a quick shout out.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah. We talked on the phone, and you told me you loved the one after the Super Bowl in 2019 as well as the Patriots Slam. Is there anything what's your favorite video that Clay put out? Do you remember? Oh man, I think we're breaking out. We're having some storms.
He's put out a bunch. Oh, go ahead, Lance. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Matt. We're having some storms coming in here. You getting into the storm, Lance? I got a freaking mosquito in here that I'm trying to freaking get.
I wouldn't know. I'm in an enclosed environment, so I don't even see sunlight, darkness, and nothing. It's lights. It's LED lights up in here.
Right? Yeah, Matt's in Florida on his 30th birthday, spending an hour and 15 minutes with us. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, we're having some storms coming in, and you've been cutting in and out the last couple minutes. But Matt, I can't thank you enough for joining us. I hope you come back later on in the year. You spent your 30th birthday with us, which is greatly appreciated. Again, man, you went toe to toe with Skip Bayless. I enjoy your banter. I enjoy the debate. I enjoy the Chiefs discussion, and I enjoy you as a friend, buddy. And once again, Matt, happy birthday. Would like to love you, have you back again. Is there anything you want to say in closing, brother?
Sure. Just a few things here real fast. Thank you so much for having me. When you guys ever want me, I'll be here. I plan on keep making content, keep covering the Chiefs. I've been a Chiefs fan since before it was cool.
Tell the viewers where they can
find that. All platforms, TikTok, Twitter, well, I guess X, YouTube, Instagram at Matt Talks NFL. I'm putting out as much content as I can get out. It is, and I try to call spade. I'm a Chiefs fan, but if it's time to call a spade, I'll call a spade. I have a blast. I'd love to be on again. This was a great time. My message, Chiefs Kingdom, take a breath. We're okay. Thank you, John, for the happy birthday. I appreciate you, brother. We're gonna be fine. If there's anyone who can get us out of this rut, I'll take the most talented quarterback. You're welcome, Clay, and the best coach I've ever seen off that offensively, schematically. Take a breath. We're gonna be fine. Take care of the Giants. This is the only thing that matters. Don't look at the Ravens. We have a crazy schedule. Go play football against the Giants. That's what matters now. So that's it. Thank you for all the birthday wishes, guys. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Yep. Thanks again, Matt Pratt, and keep doing what you do, and God bless you, brother. That is Matt. We're having some we better get out of here because these storms are hitting pretty hard, and Matt was breaking up. Did you lose me, Lance?
No. Matt was kind of he was kind of breaking up a little bit, but that's I think it's just the way of the Wi-Fi, brother. That just happens sometimes.
Right. We can't thank you enough. Thank you for staying with us for 1 hour and 18 minutes. This has been the second episode of the 65 Toss Power Talk Show. Tune in to Lance Twidwell of The Spoken this Saturday, and for Patrick Mahomes' birthday tomorrow. Patrick Mahomes will be 30. The day he was born, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Oakland Raiders at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday, September 17th, 1995, a game that went into overtime. And Tim Brown ran a crossing pattern into the referee, and James Hasty took the interception 70 yards for a game-clinching touchdown. Tune in to Red Tribe Cinema this week. I don't know if it's going to drop tomorrow, but tomorrow is Patrick Mahomes' birthday. But it's going to be on Red Tribe Cinema Facebook. Okay, tune into Red Tribe Cinema Facebook for that video. Lance, anything you want to say in closing, brother, before I see you Sunday night at your crib and we watch the Chiefs and Giants? Anything you want to say, brother?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the hangout, brother. We don't do that nearly enough in these days, and I'm glad we're doing it. I will say that I genuinely appreciate, man. We're 2 episodes in, and we've had 2 amazing guests, and the viewership in the chat. You guys bring it every single week, and I don't say that lightly. I know a lot of shows say that just to kind of pander. From the bottom of my heart, I hope you guys understand that I genuinely appreciate when you guys take time out of your busy schedules and hang out with us and just want to talk some ball. The world is so crazy, and I'll leave it at that. But you know what, man? I love the fact that we all like to take a little break and just hang out, have fun, discuss this stuff. We might agree, we may disagree, but it's the beautiful thing about sports is it brings us together, whether we agree or disagree. We're here to have fun and talk about the things we love the most, or at least love a lot, and that is sports. That is the Chiefs, and I cannot thank you guys enough, and I hope that you guys will come and hang out Saturday with Trevor and myself, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to talk a lot about the things we've talked about tonight with Shaggy. And, man, it's just been a blast. And I really do genuinely appreciate all you guys. I'm humbled by it. I know Shaggy feels the same way. And I just hope you guys will ride with us, man, because we're not going anywhere.
Amen. We'll see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Until then, go Chiefs!
Go Chiefs.